It's another Tuesday night and we are excited to be in the studio. It's Qsports and I'm Umudu Gajaka. Tonight, the young Scorpions of the Gambia have booked a place into the quarterfinals of the Africa Cup of Nations under 20 level in Mauritania 2021. And you will be excited to see it is Ghana that they've beaten. And we will also be talking about the FIVB World Beach Volleyball Competition, which is currently going on. And there is Gambia participation. The African champions, Seni Jao and Baibabu Jara, are in this competition. We'll also be bringing you that. And also some updates about the CAF Champions League, as there are some fixtures which have been updated. And we'll be also looking at the Confederations Cup, some of the fixtures in that. All that on tonight's Qsports. Welcome and thank you if you're just joining us. The young Scorpions of the Gambia responded well when it mattered most. They faced Ghana in Group C, the final game, where it's only a win for Gambia that will get them a ticket to the quarterfinals. And they delivered when it mattered most. 2-1 it ended, and the Gambia eventually sailed through. And it has to take them a comeback because they conceded first in the 8th minute when Fatau scored a screamer. And Gambia equalized, responding well with this boy who scored a fantastic header. That is Kajali Drame. And later it was another reply from the Gambia, which is coming from a free kick, Lamarana Jallo, who eventually became man of the match. And watching this with me last night, it was very interesting. Ade Darame, who was telling me, you know what? We need to calm down because we are going to win this. I doubted it, but eventually that's what exactly happened. And the Gambia's next opponent is Central African Republic in the quarterfinals, and this is on Friday at 7 p.m. Yeah. Adedarame, you've watched it all. Tell us about your thoughts of the game.
I've watched it all, and I watched the game, and as you said, and I was telling everybody else in the office to calm down. I said, the boys will do it. And it wasn't just wishful thinking. I'd seen their previous 2 games. You mentioned Kajali Drame. Don't forget that in the Tanzania game, he got man of the match in that. So imagine in 3 games, 2 Gambian players have ended up being man of the match. And I think every team that has faced them they've known that they've been in a tough match and they've been in a game after they've come up against the Gambia. So it was exciting stuff. As a football fan, it's what we live for. Games where you're kind of on the edge of your seat. Because defeat would have seen them go out, a draw would have seen them go out. And so the win was everything.
Is this a renewed belief to go into the quarterfinals against Central African Republic, who, of course, we have to mention, also sailed through on the final day of their match? That is the final round of matches in their 3rd game against Tunisia, of all people.
Not only against Tunisia, but they were deserved winners. I watched the whole of that game. And they scored 2 of the goals of the tournament, actually, against Tunisia. 2 absolutely brilliant goals. And so we will not go in there underestimating them by any means, particularly because they beat Tunisia and they beat them well. I mean, it was 2-1 in the end, but it could have been 4 or 5-1. They were really good. And I think, opponents to be wary of. But I think our own boys, they can take heart from their own performance. Because when you think about it, Ghana were probably second favourites in the whole, not just in the group, but in the competition.
In the competition.
Behind Cameroon, who've looked pretty awesome. And so to go into a game and then fall behind against them, and then to come back, to draw, and then to win it, amazing stuff. And it gives me heart for the future of this team and for the competition, yeah.
Looking back, there's so many talking points about the match. The Ghana goal was awesome. It was a fantastic shot.
They gave Fatau too much.
Absolutely, the goalkeeper had no opportunity to deal with that shot.
I think they gave Fatau too much space. If you'd seen him in the other games, this is a guy who likes to come on his left. And so what you want to do is kind of make sure that the ball stays on his right. But he had time, he had space, nobody closed him down, and he just picked his spot, and beautifully so. I mean, even as supporting the Gambia, you had to say, wow, what a goal. So it was great. But they recovered from it. Yeah.
And the response from Gambia, the Kajali Drame header, timely.
Bullet header.
Ibrahim Kamara crossed and then, he headed in.
Unstoppable header, as some commentators would say. I mean, he met it with the full force and met it flush. I mean, the keeper had no chance. It was a great goal. Yeah.
A beautiful free kick from Lamarana, but Ghanaians would blame the goalkeeper. They said, basically, it's just that. That was pure poor goalkeeping. He could have dealt with that ball.
You know what? Before we came on, I watched it again, and I think the Ghanaians would be right about that. When you look at it, he set up his wall, and then the bit where he should have occupied, where the wall wasn't, he actually stood behind his wall. So he was kind of slightly obscured by his wall, and it was kind of bizarre that he set them up that way. And you think, you think he's not going to shoot there.
Is he going to remind us about our own goalkeepers fumbling when he played against Tanzania, that last-minute free kick?
Exactly. And I mean, the ball, to be honest, as a Gambian supporter, I didn't care that the goalkeeper had kind of got his tactics wrong, and I'm glad he did. Yeah. But yes, it was poor goalkeeping, but it's nonetheless a great strike, yeah.
Looking forward to the quarterfinals. Some fascinating matchups. We've talked about ours already against CAR. We're looking forward to that. Yeah. But Cameroon, Ghana, that would be some match.
Should be quite a game. And interestingly, with us against CAR, it means that there are actually two sort of West Africa versus Central Africa clashes. There's us against Central African Republic and then Ghana against Cameroon. Again, that should be a cracking game. Two teams that have shown really, really well.
Just a little pause there. Cameroon. Often, English commentators, especially those from Europe, would find it very difficult. They classified Cameroon as a West African country.
I heard the commentator yesterday in the Cameroon game say exactly that, refer to them as West Africa. I think for the things like African Union and even for the UN, they are classed as a Central African country. But I think we've always kind of adopted them
Definitely.
as a kind of West African country because we share so much with them. Obviously, in parts of Cameroon, the Anglophone part of Cameroon, I mean, the Creole they speak is almost identical to the one spoken in Sierra Leone. It's virtually identical. And so because of that, we've always kind of felt a sort of kinship with them. And so, yes, they get called a West African country quite a lot, but they're not.
If you look at the competition, the goals are just been beautiful, and I've seen some fascinating good football. The passing game.
Yeah. I mean, I've been impressed by midfield play, by forward play particularly. Defense, not so much. There have been a few good defensive displays by some of the teams, but mostly we've seen fantastic goals. We've seen fantastic midfield play, lots of creative midfielders from every country. I mean, one of the countries that must be kicking themselves are Mauritania. They have played some beautiful football, and yet they're the hosts and they're out.
They're out.
I feel for them.
And the irony worse, Mauritania were depending on Gambia literally to slip against Ghana, because if Ghana had won, Morocco won also in their time, which obviously came into being against Tanzania.
That's right.
Then it would have been Mauritania joining Tunisia in that third and final place finish.
Absolutely, and this is the beauty of football, because the permutations were so many going into that final day and those final round of matches that there were so many teams that could have gone through depending on this, depending on that, and Mauritania are one of the ones who lost out. And as I said, they've gone out, but I think they can keep their heads high because they played some fantastic football, actually. I was really impressed with them. And, if people look at purely the results, they'll think, Mauritania are out. But I'm telling you, if you have a chance, go back and study all their games. They played some brilliant football. And I feel for them. Looking
back in the competition, we were going to look at the other quarterfinal matches, but just a little about Gambia, some of the talking points. The red card, the second booking of Ibrahim Kamara. He played brilliantly. He was the one who assisted the first goal. Can you imagine being on a stretcher? Is it lack of awareness about matches at this level, or I think the player acted stupidly?
I think I'm glad you brought that up, because if you play for Central American teams, South American teams, European teams, your coaches actually tell you about things like that. I mean, there are times when they will tell you waste time to drag the game out, but there are ways and tactics about wasting time. You don't call for a stretcher, the stretcher comes and then you jump off the stretcher. No, you wait till, because it takes time for you to be put on the stretcher and so on. And sometimes the referees don't always add on the amount of time they should. And coaches know this, and they teach players. But also with the Gambian players, what I thought was, there were instances, you and I were talking about it, where some of the tackles were quite rash, they were quite reckless. On another day, a couple of people could have picked up second yellow cards. There was an incident where the strike came in and the Ghanaian forward followed it up, and then he bumped into our keeper. And 2 Gambian players went and pushed him quite violently.
Yeah.
Another day, another referee, there would have been red cards.
Red card straight.
They need
No
to keep their
questions at
heads.
all.
No questions at all. And so the sending off was really unfortunate because he'd played well, and really that kind of blotted his copy.
And he could have been an important
he
player
could have
in
in the next game, absolutely, and he's going to miss that. It's a shame. It's a really shame. But the people learn from these harsh lessons, and he's going to learn from that one.
And another one also is the defender, Lamin Jawara, acted stupidly. You're injured apparently, and then a stretcher has been brought in. So the medics or the paramedics, or if you want to call them physios, are on the pitch. Why reacting so negatively?
Them saying, don't touch me. And I thought, come on, you've seen what's just happened to your teammate. Get on the stretcher, be quiet, and don't end up getting a card. I mean, so these things are things that need to be taught, but let's not take away from the performance all around. But I think there are lessons there that they have to learn, and sometimes you learn these lessons the hard way.
Sometimes you learn them the hard way, and then we're going to look at the other fixture again, quarterfinal. This one is going to be on Thursday. Burkina Faso will play against Uganda.
Yeah, if there's been one team apart from Central African Republic that has surprised me, it's probably been Uganda. Uganda, I mean, when they beat, I think they beat Mauritania, and late on, that game really deserved to be a draw. I think Kazu scored for Uganda. They look a really good side. As I said, they played some friendlies coming into this competition, and they've been very unimpressive. So the performances that they've put in this competition have really surprised me. That one should be an absolute. I mean, when you look at the ties, I don't think there's a single tie that you can look and say, oh, this is good. Because the standard has been so high. It's been of the highest, and I'm looking forward to all of the games. Really.
Is it a bit of a coincidence, Morocco, Tunisia, 2 North African sides facing each other?
It is a coincidence because of where they ended up on the respective tables. So they end up being drawn against each other. But just think about this. If we win our next game, and Ghana win their next game, we face each other again. That's how the draw has ended up being.
That's how the draw is going to be like,
because of the way that the draw has been made. So they're in that side of the pool, and we're on the other side. So if we win our respective games, we'll end up facing each other again, and that should be a cracker. But we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. As the cliche goes in football, take each game as it comes. And as I said, some really, really good games to come. But the North African one, great rivalry between those 2 teams at every level. I mean, they never like losing to each other. So again, that should be a really good one. And we've seen some, really good players. Of course, we know, Morocco were in our group. El Mubarak looked a really good player, really classy player, very skillful. Some great games and some great players. And I hope, some of the bigger football teams are watching this competition, because I think some of them will come and probably poach these players. Big African teams as well as big teams from around the world.
And in fact, we've started getting rumors about, some scouts being there already, and some teams, looking for some specific players. And when you look at the competitions, the organization, Mauritania being the host, the pitch, yes, it's synthetic, but we've seen some good free-flowing football.
We've seen some fantastic football, and this to me is what sells, because synthetic pitches have moved on from the days when I was playing, and when I had dreams of becoming a professional. The AstroTurf, as it was then, if you fell on it, the burn that you got on your skin would be there for months. It wouldn't heal. they've amended and they've refined it to what we have now. And so we've seen some beautiful flowing football. You talk about, people remember the 4-4 Sierra Leone against Nigeria game. I mean, that pitch when Nigeria went to Freetown.
The Shaka Stevens.
That pitch, you know, a 10th division side should not have, never mind an international match. It was a disgrace. And then you look at those pitches in this competition, as you say, they're synthetic, but they look fantastic. And they've allowed the football to be the football that we've seen. Great, flowing football.
And Mauritania can be taken for a classic example of really developing their football, because when you look at the infrastructure, you're impressed.
Very impressed. You and I know that there's this FIFA fund that's available to every country in the world. Runs into millions, and they're meant to use it to develop infrastructure for all sorts of things. You can even use it to, you know, for sort of hotel travel, but if it's for the team, you know, certain countries have dipped into that fund and you can see the benefit of it. Mauritania is one. Sierra Leone, imagine up to now, Sierra Leone, Guinea-Bissau, Cape Verde and so on, each of those countries could have taken $12.6 million up to now. Guinea-Bissau, for example, has not taken a single cent of that money. It's been there for 4 years. They could have taken it any time in the last 4 years. They have not. Gambia has taken some of it.
But still a lot more.
Still a lot more that needs to be taken. But if you look at what Mauritania have done, because you can go on the FIFA website and it tells you how much each country has taken and how much they've spent. And they've taken about the same amount as Gambia. But look at the pitches that they've delivered. Absolutely beautiful pitches. I mean, credit to them. And you know, take my hat off to them. Really, really good. And look at the stadia. I'm really impressed, and really they are a sign of what can and should be done with that money.
With all that is being criticized in football, when you look at the pitch, you look at the organization and also this football, the level that it is. Yes, these are just junior players under 20, and they're looking forward to build future national team players and professional footballers. Yeah. I think the future looks bright with the right things.
Not only does the future look bright, we keep saying this, if people go back and they watch the games, I'm telling you, they are bound to be impressed. Some people might not have watched, thinking, oh, it's only under 20. But I'm telling you, if you take the time to watch, you will see some fantastic footballers. I am so pleased that, and I hope all of these guys go on to have great careers, because you and I know that things can happen. People get derailed from you know, taking on careers in football, even if they get to this stage, under 20 stage, which is kind of the next stage before you get to the sort of senior level. But one of the things that I think Gambians are really looking forward to, I certainly am, is that we had the disappointment of what happened with the under-17 team. I mean, what the under-20 team have done so far has lifted spirits, certainly lifted mine, because, you know, felt the disappointment. We were hopeful that these guys would go there in the under-17 and do well, and then they got disqualified. The under-20 now have kind of lifted our spirits, and we're all looking forward to them. But as you rightly say, across Africa, a lot to be proud of, lots of great footballers, and believe me, people should go and watch, because they will see some fantastic football.
For those of us in the sports media industry, we keep pointing fingers at the Confederation of African Football. This is not right, that is not right. I think they should have fixed this. But the television coverage, you know, getting the games live on television, sure, it has somewhat taken it to another level.
It really has. And as you also say, we criticize them a lot. I think when we should praise them is a time like now. They've done a great job. And also, you think of the Chan in Cameroon. CAF, again, did a fantastic job. I mean, that was a total success. And let's also remember, in that one, fans were allowed in. You know, 25% of the fans that each stadium could accommodate were allowed in. And that contributed to the atmosphere. This time, it's different, but the TV coverage, people can watch the games live on various platforms. And I think anybody watching is bound to have been impressed with the television coverage so far. Yeah.
Fantastic competition. The Africa on the 20 Cup competition that is currently underway in Mauritania was our exclusive discussion. And Adedarame, thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thank you.
We are now going to take a short break, and when we come back, I am going to look at beach volleyball, because the FIVB World Tour has already begun in Qatar, and there is Gambian interest. The African champions, Mai Babu Jara and Seni Jawo. You would hear from them how they felt about taking part in their second World FIVB Beach Tour competition.
From an early age, we value the feeling of speed, the thrill of the wind as we rush to our destinations, the feel of our feet bounding over the ground, the way the world blurs as we rush by, faster, faster than a ray of light, I'm flying. I have one speed, I have one gear. Keep on moving, I won't stop till I get there. Want to experience speed? Then subscribe to the Gambia's 4G LTE mobile network, Qcell. With speeds of up to 45 megabytes per second, you can get online in the blink of an eye. The fastest browsing, stream videos faster, do much more faster. Just dial *335# to join the fastest club. Qcell's 4G LTE mobile network. Go faster. For more information, call 111. Qcell, Senior Boss. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back from that short break, and this is Qsports. I'm Umudu Kachiga. Now we're going to talk about the FIBA Beach World Tour, or if you like, the FIVB World Tour. There is Gambian interest by Babu Jara and Seni Jawo, who eventually became African champions in the African Games in 2019 in Morocco, will be representing the Gambia in this competition. 14 nations are going to take part, and in Africa, 3 countries, and Gambia is among them. I've been talking to them about how impressed they are taking in this competition, and let's hear from them.
Gambian beach volleyball player.
And I'm by Babu Jara, playing for Gambia beach volleyball national team.
We feel great like taking part in the upcoming FIVB World Tour event, which is gonna be played in Doha from the 22nd to the 26th of this month, February. Yeah, like we feel great like representing our country as the players, cause every athlete wants to wear the jersey of your national team. Yeah, it's a privilege to represent your nation in every competitions when you are given the opportunity to represent your country. Yeah, so alhamdulillah, we feel great like representing our nation.
We've been ready for this competition mentally and physically. We've been training so hard for this past 4 months, and luckily we have a couple of few tournaments we are playing in Doha, so it's different, like it's God's will, but for sure we will do our level best, inshallah.
Still on Q Sports, finally we are going to look at the CAF Confederations Cup. There have been some fixture changes, and also the CAF Champions League. But first we have these CAF Champions League fixtures to look forward to. Very interesting indeed. Al Merrek will play against Vita Club. That is going to be today, later in the afternoon. And Petro Luanda will play against Casablanca. And also there would be this match between Al Ahly of Egypt and Simba of Tanzania. Kaizer Chiefs will play against Horoya of Guinea, and Tengage, the Senegalese side where a Gambia player, Jibril Silla, plays in, will play against Zamalek, and this game is going to be hosted by Tengage in Senegal. And talking about this particular game, 2 weeks ago, Jibril Silla scored a fantastic goal for Tengage when they played against Esperance of Tunisia in their CAF Champions League when they made it to the group stages. He was happy with the goal, but unimpressed with the referee. Let's hear from Jibril Silla.
Yeah, I'm very happy to score my first goal in the Champions League. Not the result we wanted, but unfortunately, we lost the game. But thank God, I have registered my first goal, and I'm very happy to score and be in the history book. So I'm praying many more to come, and we win the next game. Yeah, but unfortunately, the referee spoiled our game and give you out the penalty. That is not a penalty, but you're gonna forget all and concentrate on the next game. So thanks for all your messages and calls. I'm really happy to everyone, Thank you.
With that, we say thank you very much for watching this special broadcast of Q Sports, and we do enjoy your special company. Until we come your way next week, keep on sporting and have a pleasant night. Bye for now.